All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So sorry, we were having a little bit of some technical difficulties, but we are back. We're just gonna go ahead and start. Bismillah ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As Al and Masjid family, we pray that everyone is doing well and safe, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, we're so glad that glad and blessed that we have been able to stay connected and benefit from the masjid and be able to support each other despite everything that's going on around in the world right now. Even in times of social distancing, we are, our community members have been safely reaching out to each other with compassion for one another, whether it be through helping provide food or necessities, those who are struggling, ill, or at risk. The reassuring and motivating reminders by Imam ARB and Mufti Noman and guest speakers, the continuation of Islamic classes and kids programming through a virtual platform and so on. Inshallah, I hope we are all able to enjoy some of these hidden blessings now that we maybe previously could not appreciate or give due justice to. If not, inshallah, I know our guest speaker today will inspire us all to actively seek the silver lining during a difficult situation. We have with us today Sister Nida Jawed, founder of Nida Jawed Life Coaching LLC and a certified professional life coach. Those of you who have the pleasure of knowing Sister Nida, or as a client, as a friend, as a family member, you know how comforting and inspiring she is, mashallah. She uses her words and skills to change the quality of life for individuals across the world and to encourage a positive mindset. She is a highly motivated, enthusiastic, and responsible individual with a proven track record of delivering excellent work ethics. With an educational background and degree in business, psychology, and anthropology, certification in life coaching and leadership, Sister Nida is connecting with clients from diverse backgrounds who feel the inclusion when in session. Her vision is for every individual to live a balanced, aligned, and fulfilling life across the globe. Jazakallah khair, Sister Nida, for being here with us today.
Oh, of course, my pleasure. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit of my wisdom with everyone else who can find ease through actively seeking silver lining during these hard times. They're not easy, and the things that I will be discussing and the conversation we'll be having will lead them not just to get through these times, but use the same concepts to get through any hardship and calamity that they encounter in life as it goes through. So right now, what I would like everyone to look out for as they keep hearing us in this conversation as we go through this presentation are three things: one for dunya, one for deen, and one, because I'm a life coach, there is a coaching element in there as well, because life is all about balancing. And here, when we are actually actively seeking the silver lining, seeking the hope in middle of a calamity or adversity, we have to figure out the balance. Where is our dunya in it? Where is our deen in it? And how are we dealing? What are the actions? The coaching element are the action. And to discover that balance for one person is where the help in this lecture comes in.
Just a little here, Sister Nida. I'm just going to go over the format for today. So Sister Nida will start speaking. Halfway through the talk, we'll take a little break to check in and take some questions. Please keep sending in your questions on Facebook and YouTube. I'll read your questions aloud. So around 3:35-ish, we'll say, since we're having some difficulties in the beginning. I'll read your questions aloud, and inshallah, Sister Nida will answer any questions you may have. After she's done with her, then she'll continue with her talk. And then after she's done with her talk, we'll take questions again. Inshallah, may we all benefit. Sister Nida, the floor is all yours. I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off.
All right. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair. Okay, everyone, I welcome you right now who are joining this live and following me through this. First of all, I would like to start, what is silver lining? Many of us know and have heard this in movies and different lectures. What is silver lining? It's an emphasis of being hopeful in a gloomy situation during a trauma, an ordeal. There's always hope. And today we're talking about how to actively find that hope when it all seems to be falling apart. Every cloud has a silver lining. This is something that we always hear, but how many times are we actively trying to find that? Sometimes we even notice that the whole cloud is silver. There's a hopeful situation in every trauma, but sometimes we fall short of finding that ease during the time of calamity that Allah is opening up to us, because we are so overwhelmed with the pain. Today, we'll discuss where does this positive aspect in our difficult context comes from, and where can we bring it within ourselves to come about and actively seek it. The worst of situation. How do worst of situations make us feel? They make us feel gloomy. They make us feel painful. They hurt. Sometimes we feel lost. Sometimes it takes an effort to be feeling like we are found. Sometimes we wish there was a guide to help us through all of this. It is only that we feel darkness, but what happens in darkness? We actually have a courage to hold a candle. What do we do when lights go off? What do we do when there is night and we have to go somewhere? We actually search for the light that makes our path easy, makes us be able to see things. It's only in a darkness we gain the courage to hold a candle. We actively seek light. We try to ease out of that darkness so we are able to see. Life isn't much different than that. But how many times in our adversity and calamity are we actually searching for that light that helps us get through this? We become dependent on other people. We become dependent on with our expectations. Many times when we are passing through a calamity, we are relying on other people to resolve that issue. For instance, here, we have to listen to our professionals during this Corona time. However, there are those of us who are taking it very lightly. Allahu alam what the result will be, but I pray for everyone's health and success. These are testing times. And like I said before, we all are being tested in our own way, depending on where our niyat, depending on where we are on our path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and depending on where we stand personally. Collectively, we can try as our community just protect each other and not to spread this virus, but individually, where are we in our lives? That's also a question. What are we doing personally? Collective efforts work when we are working on ourselves, because individually we're damaged in one way or the other. So this is where we are leading to. This is where I'm leading to. The purpose right now is to help you see the active lining when as discussing through the lively worldly life and our dini life. So again, where is the silver lining? Where is that candle we are ready to hold? In darkness, we are all searching for light. And when it rains and it storms, we are all searching for shelter. Life isn't that different. We just have to bring up that courage to do the same in every situation. Allah says, I do not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. It's in Surah Al-Baqarah. And this verse brings ease in two ways. And what are those two ways? One, he is already telling us that we are strong enough to bear that adversity. He built us strong enough to go through it. And second, he is reassuring us that the strength to work through it is already within us. I know this brings a lot of ease to me, that no soul, he is promising, no soul is going to bear a burden more than it can handle, which reassures me. And I hope everyone else who is listening right now that I am strong enough to get through this. And I already do have the strength to deal with this. My job now is, what do I do to seek? Our duty at this point is to, number one, make sure that our intention, number one, is to win Allah's mercy. And second, seek that strength Allah is talking about already. He will not burden me more than I can bear. He will not burden us more than we can bear. So where is that strength? Where is it that I need to be strong? Where is my strength? What is holding my strength? And that comes from prayers and planning and skills and resources and support systems and bounties he has already provided for us. And how are we connecting with all the bounties and blessings he has given us? Is our strength among those? Are we stronger with them? Who are we in that moment is where we need to comprehend, because that's where we know how to deal with adversity. This is where we know that we need to change something or work through something that gets us through this. Do not be afraid of trial and error, because failure that you experience in the world is not judged the same way it is judged in the world. When you fail trying to protect someone, everything like that translates in sadaqah. Allah is judging you with your intention, rewarding you by your intention way before your actions come into place. So this is why we have to keep the intention of making sure whatever we are about to do is for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and from there on He will ease this. And the first step in seeking that silver lining is where we stand. Where is our own strength? As a life coach, I always start with my clients by helping them figure out where their strengths are. What are they are capable of? How much weight of the burdens can they carry? And then figure out a plan to move forward. Such is true in life for every individual. Allah's promise is also that we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger, loss of wealth and lives and fruit. But give good tidings to those who are patient. Of course, Allah rewards our intentions and puts barakah in our actions. But He is promising to test us, which basically means, in normal terms, financials would be our shelter, our home, food, necessities, materialistic stuff that we all have. We buy, we share. Our friends and family, children, and different relationships that He has given us as our duty to fulfill. And of course, what we are being tested with right now, health. We have to protect our health, and we have to be careful of others as well. All that makes up for a sustainable life. All these blessings He is saying that He will test us with. Most of what I will be repeating, the quotes of Quran, are just reminders, right? We have grown up hearing the same things, but the perspective changes during how the situations around us change, how the times have changed. Never before did we think about we will collectively be discussing Corona and trying to prevent the spread together. But here we are. The role of Allah's promise, what is our role in Allah's promise that He is going to test us? Number one, how many times we are realizing that we are putting our sweat and blood and building our own test, meaning we are working so hard to have a relationship, we're working so hard to be the good parents, we're building homes, we're buying cars, we are creating a life for ourselves. That is saying we are actually implementing our own test. We have created our own test paper. We are writing our own test, then why would it be so hard to search the answers to it? We know what became important to us. And Allah has promised to test us. Then why is it that we cannot seek that strength sometimes and we become weak that Allah has told us is already there? We have prepared our test paper. Again, Allah does not burden the soul more than it can bear. We have been creating a life that we will be tested with. And to seek those answers, we have to put in the same effort we have put in creating this life. Here we have so much fear in most of us because we are afraid to lose what we have worked so hard for. But the perspective changes. Yesterday, we were not paying attention to our blessings as much as we are right now. And when I say yesterday, before Corona happened, we were busy creating but not enjoying. And here we have been given the opportunity to come back to that what we have worked so hard for. He has placed us in a test that can help us recognize where our ease has been all along. So this is where our seeking starts, connecting back with our blessings. Allah has given us a choice. He already knows the outcome of our future. because we don't know. We're busy creating it and he already knows what will happen. But he has given a chance to us by our choices. He is aware that we can feel sad, happy, however, along the way because of circumstances. And he is very well aware that we can fall victim to shaitan as well. And he has given us complete opportunity for astaghfirullah, for istighfar and forgiveness. Keep reaching back out to me, he says. And sometimes we get so comfortable with the sin, we even forget doing that. And then a test happens and it brings us back from the times we have fallen victim to not just shaitan, but our own nafs, our desires as well. If he so wanted, none of us would have been sinners, but he wants us to make choices, utilize the guidelines that he has given us. He wants us to choose our test. He wants us to build the life so we know what we have become so attached to. He cannot test me with what you are attached to. He has given me my choices to build from, build on, and then he has made all of us responsible for the life we are building and for our choices. He has told us what is right and wrong, but he has made us responsible. So when are we seeking mercy? When we are seeking the silver lining, it's also in recognizing, where am I responsible for everything that I am building for others too in my life, my actions? First responsibility that we have is, of course, choosing the path that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and being tested along the way, because we are building that test. We know we're going to go off of it at some point, and there will be something that brings us back. Another responsibility is, again, being sincere in our intentions. Are we sincerely seeking the pleasure of Allah and going on his path? Or are we pretenders? There are a lot of stories of hypocrites in the past history, right? I will not get into those stories right now, but to recognize ourselves. Am I sincere or am I a pretender? Because remember, signs are for those who believe. Throughout the Quran, whenever Allah is saying, I have done this, look at the trees, look at the sky, look at the sun. He says signs are for those who believe. And one of our belief is to believe in his mercy, seek the signs of his mercy during the time of our adversity. Our journey on this path becomes easy. Test becomes easy because we see the mercy in the adversity and we become hopeful. What is happening right now? We are home. The children are able to hug their moms and dads who are otherwise at work. Children will find themselves in schools and parents are at work. Here you are working at home. Those hugs, when was the last time you actually connected that way? Inshallah, hopefully you're all safe in your homes and eating together, living together, even yelling at each other together. Otherwise, you don't even get an opportunity for that. And there's no harm in discipline, of course, if it's in the safe way. There's a lot of mercy in this connection. And there are a lot of videos out there. I have even put out videos out there, and a lot of other, mashallah, subhanallah, the leaders who are making us and helping us recognize that that mercy is there. So that's where it starts. Mercy is there. But how do I get past through this? Hope is there. But what are my actions that make it so that we achieve that hopeful goal? We don't just have tests, really. We also have distractions. Allah has made our life very interesting with this. Where do the distractions come in? Of course, till he tests us and brings us back to where we have started, brings us back to connect with the blessings we have started to take for granted. He gives us distractions as well, from our risk, our finances, our children, our spouses, everything that he will test us with. We kind of get diverted from them, meaning we stop paying heed to them. We start being focused in so much in achieving and providing for them. We start taking our time away from them. We start taking ourselves away from it. We start making choices that are distracting. For instance, spending a lot of time on the phone when we know our kid can use our company. Spending time, a lot of time outside of our home with our friends when we know our spouse can use our company, right? These are just simple examples of how distractions work in this life on the same path where we are told to enjoy the blessings and seek forgiveness so that we can maintain those blessings. We can pray, we can give charity, and everything else, the love that we have for those blessings, when we give from them, it becomes charity. So all that we need to do, we get distracted by. And we even forget to sometimes pray even. 5 times a day, Allah says, come back to me. Our namazes, our salah is to ease us out from our hectic day. 2 minutes all it takes to come back and breathe and be ready for the next step. So from Zohar to Asr, that time, prepare for it during Zohar namaz. But we get distracted from our worldly distractions or pleasures, rather. There's no harm in enjoying them, but not allowing them to destroy us. So there are distractions that take us away from our path and our blessings and what we take for granted. And thus there is a test to bring us back to that path. And how are we prepping for it? Remember, the silver lining we're talking about is adversity, but it is also a test. Allah is holding off the judgment till the day of judgment. But throughout this life, He will keep bringing us to the test. And again, the signs are for those who believe and are seeking of that silver lining is how hopeful we are during that test, who we become during that test. What are we intending during that test? So here comes the reflection. I would like all of you to hear these questions and think about them. How many of you can say before coronavirus hit, you were not distracted and completely focused on everything that Allah is saying He will test you with? Your lives, your health, your finances, your shelter, your children, your health. And of course, how many of you were living a life without fear? We all have fear for one thing or another, but Allah is testing us with fear. And where is majority of our fear? To lose what we already have. He is testing us with that. So tell me, or think about it. Were you not distracted before all of this came to happen? Corona came to happen to bring focus on the blessings you already have? How many of the families are finding themselves eating together, like I asked previously? How many families ate together before all of this happened? How many parents are actually taking time to speak with their children? How many spouses are actually connecting? A lot of sisters are, and some brothers too, get in touch with me and they're like, okay, my husband is home. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to talk? Whenever we do start talking, we're butting heads. My question then is, are you having this argument or this agreement after a very long time, or this is something consistent? And her response was, we both work. So by the end of the day, when we come home, we're having dinner, and then he's on his phone and I'm on my phone catching up. And here we are disagreeing, and here we are in argument. And my suggestion to her was embrace it. Because even in these arguments, there is a connection. Don't let them accelerate, of course. Come back to a common ground. There's ease in it. You're arguing because you have not connected in a very long time. And here's your chance to discover what about each other was bothering you guys. And then find that common ground again to build on. Here's an opportunity. Here's an ease. Here's the silver lining for you. So I'm just sharing one example of many calls and messages that I get. And my other question to you is, how many of you are finding yourself reaching and worrying about losing something that you were not actually paying attention to for a very long time? Is it your health now? I hope I don't get corona. Actually aggressively washing your hands all the time. Is it the fact that you have elders in your home and children, you are worried about their health? You're worried about losing your parents. All this is in your blessings and focus and the fear of losing. Allah is testing you by bringing you back to identify the ease that is present in these times of adversity. He is testing us with fear. What is your biggest fear right now? How many of you are quarantining for the sake of Allah, for the sick person in your family? You want to protect them. Economy, right? It's suffering. So we're going back to the financial aspect. What will happen if economy crashes? Already many people are losing their jobs. You won't have money to provide for the family you love so much, which means the frustrations and arguments are going to come up, which means you lose your insurances, which means you cannot pay for the health to the for a health of your family members, to the doctors, and then fear of losing all you have worked hard for. These times Allah is testing us with everything He has provided for us. And of course, signs are for those who believe. He says, I will not burden you more than you can handle. In simple words. And He's promising to test us. And here we are testing. There's a reflection that I had. And that is, I was thinking about the day of Qiyamah. Even then, we know that it will be a hectic situation. People will be running. Everyone will be like, Allah, forgive me. They're afraid of their judgment. But there will be ease. There will be ease for those who have been good, sincere in their intentions, and solely did everything for the pleasure of Allah. They loved their children for the pleasure of Allah. They were kind to their elders for the pleasure of Allah. They worked and earned to spend in the path of Allah and provide for those Allah has placed in their lives. And they made good use and earned their rizq from the faithful halal forms. So there's a lot that goes in building this life with the intentions that everything is for pleasure of Allah, and those who have done so will have mercy of His on the day of Qiyamah. We hear about the winds, we hear about the peacefulness, we hear about ground turning into soft, calm flour bread. There are a lot of descriptions the way the ease is going to come. So, and here in this time and age, doesn't it feel like this? That some of us are in quarantine, but our life has become easy. We are connecting so well with those that are present in our life, that are present in our home. We are reaching out more to our friends through phone than ever before. There is ease in every hardship. There is silver lining. And then, where do I seek silver lining? With every hardship comes ease. With it is present, and I have just shared with you where to seek it, how it is present, how we are focused on our blessings and reaching out again to our blessings that we have taken for granted for a very long time and we're distracted by. With our adversity, our ease is present. We just have to look for it. Where do I seek it? Again, connecting back with our blessings that Allah promised to test us with. And what He has given us without asking, and what he has given us as an answer to our prayers. Our children. Many people had to pray long time. I witnessed a family when I went for Hajj that was married for 15 years, and they were performing Hajj with an intention that Allah accept this Hajj and as a reward give me a child. So for the prayers, Allah has answered. For the family he gave us. And of course, he will test us with them as well. With our health that enables us to go work and provide for the same family he has given us. For the bounties, the finances, our finance being able to provide shelter, food, house, car, you name it, all the material you own are sources of our test and sources of our blessing. We have built this test with our own hands. We have worked for it. And now it is also our responsibility to make the same efforts to seek that silver lining and get through this test. And not just this coronavirus. I'm talking about whenever a test hits your life. It's promised. It will seem hard. It will seem as if it's breaking you. But remember that we are all capable of getting through that test. We just have to make sure we are aware of who we are as we are going through it. Opportunities to recognize. Allah has given us a lot of opportunities, and thus far from what we have discussed, you realize that we are connecting back with our blessings, what is important to us, and we are straying away from what wasn't. The outings we've been doing, the movies we've been going out, the restaurants we've been eating out. All of that was leisure and pleasure. We are consciously making a decision to stay away from everything that was leisure, that was pleasurable, that we were enjoying, and connecting back, staying at home. We kept working to pay for the mortgage or building this home, but we only slept at night, and here we are enjoying every single wall that we have worked so hard to build. That's where we have an opportunity to recognize. Another reminder for you, and I know all of you are actively doing this, enjoying every moment with your children. It brings me great joy when I speak with different sisters who were busy otherwise for different reasons at all, with their business, with their work, and with their social life. I'm not gonna lie, I'm sorry. And here they are giving up all of that and connecting back with their spouses, their children, their home, and their responsibility. They are thoroughly enjoying cooking for their family. This is when you recognize what was important and what wasn't. There is a silver lining. This is a hopeful situation that you actually recognize, you sought out, and you're working to maintain it. Along with the strength, Allah brings patience to deal with this strength. Good tidings are for those who are patient. We are patiently in our home enjoying the blessings. We are focused one more time and being patient. We're not, at least not all of us, are eager to go out, eager to start with the life that was distracting us. We much rather be safe. We much rather protect our blessings from anything that can be harmful. But of course, Allah says, I will test you. So there is no prevention from everything. If it is meant to be, Allah will bring you to it. Allah has opened the options of sinning to us too by giving us a choice. Then our tests again are those that we compose with our actions. Therefore, taking careful actions during these hard times makes sure that we are hopeful with how we are protecting our family. Recognizing our patience, recognizing our strength to be patient, making sure that we are of service to ourselves and to others in these hard times, and any test that Allah puts you through. This is where the silver lining comes in. That hopefulness starts with our actions. But unfortunately, many fail to recognize this. But remember, failure of this world is not a failure of hereafter. Allah has given us a lot of opportunity as long as we shall live to reach back to Him. He is not judging us till the end. People might, right? We do a lot of things thinking, what people will say. Most of our decisions are because we want to maintain a reputation. We want to image. We want to maintain a status. We are doing things that we know people will not talk about negatively, or one slip and here you are being talk of the town, right? Things happen. The world is that. The world is negative. Negativity is present to make sure you can reach within yourself to bring the positivity. You have to find your candle within yourself. You are the silver lining in all of your surrounding that is gloomy, that is bringing you down. You are the silver lining. Your actions, your mindset, your mindfulness. Who are you in this situation? But unfortunately, when people fail to recognize their own strength and fail to see where that ease is, with that simply means we at that moment when we are drowned in our adversity is that we have allowed a lot of outer world to enter our heart and not enough Allah's tawakkul to stay there. We have set expectations. We are disappointed by those that will not help us or are unable to help us. No one can help you unless Allah puts it in their heart to help you. Allah makes your life easier by providing you the people who will help you get to the next step. Otherwise, if this person is incapable of helping you, even if they want to, you have to find your own source. You have to identify your own capability. Trial and error. Reach out for help or to help. If you fail in the situation or you are rejected, that just means you have been pushed closer to a source that will help you. It wasn't a rejection, it was a direction. There is the difference. Signs are for those who believe. With every test, there is ease. With every test. And this is where our silver lining stays. Allah will not change the condition of people until they change what is within themselves. Wanting to change your situation, wanting to get out of that adversity, wanting to do better. These are not community's responsibility. These are not collective efforts. This is what I need to do for myself and those Allah has made me responsible for. On the day of Qiyamah, in our qabrs, in our graves, Allah will ask, how were we with others? He will not ask, how were others with us? A responsibility lies with us. The hope lies within us. We are the hope we are seeking. We are the savior we are seeking. We are the ease we have to find strength to achieve. We are the ones who have to commit the actions that lead us with pure intentions to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With every moment that falls upon us, that is where we find ourselves struggling, is an opportunity to change something. It is happening because something needs to change. We are going in a direction that demands a change. Every adversity demands a change. And here we can take a break and let's take any of your questions.
All right. Jazakallah khair, Sister Nida. That was very eye-opening and inspiring. So I'm just going to go ahead and start reading some questions. I know we had some technical difficulties, so we can run till 4:05 if need be, but it's 3:50.
Okay,
But I'm going to go ahead and
sure,
start reading some of the questions we have.
sure.
Some of them were texted to me. So would you say that the key to dealing with challenges and tests that come our way is our personal perspective? Just, I mean, I think that's basically what you kind of just highlighted, right?
Yes,
Perspective, right?
absolutely. See, as a life coach, and when I'm speaking with my clients, I explain to them that number one thing is being self aware. We get too comfortable in blaming other people. Like, for instance, right now we're blaming China, right? Because we need to identify a reason that puts us in this situation. We are actively actually seeking the reasons to blame. We are not seeking how to resolve it. So that's where you need to be aware. Where are you in your intentions? Okay, what has happened can only change if you change what you have done in this situation. For instance, for a family that now has a member that is carrying coronavirus, let's say, and I'm using current times because here we are, that person needs to be in quarantine to protect rest of the family members. But if there is interaction, if someone is uh, taking it easy, so to speak, then we have, before they find out, once you find out, it naturally becomes your responsibility to take action that prevents rest of your family from getting it. But then if there are more cases within that household, yes, number one, it's Allah testing you with your family, with something of fear and with something of health. But then what were you doing? Were you taking the measures that were given to you as a guide? But then if this has happened, what are you doing then? Are you actively seeking um, preventions for rest of the members who don't have it? Are you getting help? These are just an example, yes, because your adversity can only go away by actions and your mindset in that situation. If you are thinking, I can handle this, I have to bear patience, then this is your choice. Can I quickly share an example? For instance, right now, we also have domestic violence issues as well in households, okay? So there are sisters, and I'm getting a lot of calls and messages in regards to that, in a situation where this is happening. Very commonly, this is persisting in households this was common in, meaning the sister actively made a choice in not doing anything or preventing herself from domestic violence. And right now it's just at another rate, but this was common in that household, this action. Um, so what is happening then is that an abuser is always afraid of having their victim be empowered. So when you speak up, have a courage to hold that hand that is coming to hit you. That's where you have found your strength. You don't have to put up with anything. You are 100% capable of fixing and getting out of the test Allah is testing you with. And sometimes it's a situation you have to make difficult choices, but the choice needs to be yours. All right, I'm ready for the second question.
So, um, all right. So this is kind of, I think, a lot of us seeking some really like real life practical advice. So a lot of moms and a lot of parents in general, but I feel like with working moms, especially, we're having to bring work home and you're trying
Right.
to do conferences. I think that BBC video with the dad like on the on
Oh, yeah, it's circulating.
is like happening real time for everyone right now. So just, I think, with homeschooling, parents having to homeschool their kids, and then, we've also been sending in work for like Sunday school as well. So parents having to figure out how to like, you do homeschooling, how to do meetings online from home, how to balance all these different activities the kids have, like even all the like after school activities kids would have, like karate or whatever, like it's all online now, and having to, like, I think that was, not to say that the parents tried to take a break, but that, you know, like that would be the time that maybe parents would catch up in other errands, but basically like the kids are all in the same room while you're trying to do all these different activities at the same time. So in general, how would you, like, what advice do you have to kind of like, you know, to kind of lessen that anxiety level and to how to balance it? Obviously there's no it is a difficult situation, but this is something I think several moms have reached out to me that you know, be feeling overwhelmed. In general, mom life is really hard, and just, you know, but
Oh, of
now it's
course.
like at another level, right? So if you could kind of just give some practical
Oh,
advice.
yes, absolutely. And I love this question because I get that a lot. There are two things to identify here. Number one, it's a brand new territory for almost everyone, the parents and the children. We are having to figure out how to navigate through this. We are having to figure out how we work through this, how to give our time to our work and our family. Likewise, children are also trying to comprehend what exactly is going on. They are present at home. They, many of them are so used to how schools are live in session, right, with teachers and everything. They're trying to figure out how things are online as well. So there are challenges on both sides. What I am seeing is parents are now realizing it's hard, as hard on the children as it is on the parents. Children are also trying to see, okay, how do I do what I want to do with my parent right there? Meaning, should I ask for help? Should I not? I can't figure this out. And of course, that balancing factor is there. What I have been doing and what I see working is that number one, having a open conversation, setting timetable. Okay, for instance, if you know your work requires you to work during the daytime, or you have to give that many hours, both when both parents are present in a household, make sure that your children know which parent is more free and available to answer their struggles and their questions if they have with their schooling. Older kids are pretty much self-dependent. Most of the situations of balancing homeschooling and work arises when your children are small. They don't know how to navigate through all of this, but if they can work with their iPhones and iPads, for smaller kids, they have really cool activities. I got to see a few. Then teach them how to work through that. Of course, you know, lock your doors. Make when one parent is in a meeting, so to speak, take that time and the other parent be responsible for the little ones. Lock the doors. Children are not going to open door that has the lock on the other side, even if they try. So that will prevent the embarrassment, I guess. And otherwise, you know, there's actually another one. Be responsible with your videos and what is shown there. There are a lot of things I've been seeing. So, you know, again, that responsibility factor comes in. And also with extracurricular activities, what I have been seeing and what actually I've been practicing with my kids, and my husband does that. My daughter really enjoys soccer. Of course, as long as we are in the you know, boundaries of our own home, which includes our yard, we're free to practice. So go outside when you have time and help them practice whatever they enjoy. Karate, you know, ask your child, make that time. Ask your child to show you some moves without hurting you. Learn a thing or two. It's just about discovering what works. Balance it with time. If you are a morning person, take care of your necessities during that time. If any parent is an evening person or needs time during the day, make sure you are actively actually speaking with your spouse rather than your children. Make them aware, okay, mommy is busy right now. I'm gone for 3 hours. I make you responsible for this and this. And then when I come back, I will answer any questions. Meanwhile, daddy is right there and he's accessible. So having those terms instead of just thinking I'm the only one who needs to do all of this, make sure you share that time and responsibility as well.
Yeah, and I think the concern is, it came up, there are, even within our community, you kind of touched on this. We do have families that unfortunately, like for kids and whether it be women and men, that, for a lot of people, this is a great time, but for some people, like school was the time they got out of an abusive home, or
Yes,
and then things like that. So I think I'll just in situations where there's some women as well, where the or men as just being single parents and things like that, just balancing it out. I think the best thing, just kind of if you don't have another adult to kind of conversate with, but just even coming together with the kids, just to kind of make a timetable. I know a lot of people, since there's no set schedule, people just kind of waking up whenever, going to sleep whenever, but
right.
having that routine, even if and just having that, okay, like still dressing up, getting out of our pajamas and actually getting dressed up for work, really makes that, it's that mindset, I think, that really makes a difference.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree with this because we set ourselves for what is happening. And this is the whole presentation about. We are the ones responsible. We have to seek the silver lining actively. And to do that, of course, my heart goes out to those that are stuck in homes with an abuser. But like I said, keep the resources on hand. If it comes to a point you need to be taken out of a situation, do not hesitate. Do not hesitate. Allah will not change the situation unless people change what is within themselves, right? Resources are there, ease is there, use it. I don't know if you guys got to see one of the interviews, and this sister was so nice. And one of the things she said was, my biggest regret is that I did not take my kids out of this abusive household soon enough. I did not leave an abusive relationship soon enough. It is more damaging than it is helping the kids with, father providing for the kids. And these are, of course, extreme cases. And if I was to list everything that I am hearing, I don't think this is the time, but learn to manage. What are you calling abuse? If it's domestic, if you're finding yourself hurt, if your bones are breaking, your lip is busted, you are bruising, this is a time to take an action. But if somebody is just asking you to warm up the food and stuff like that, that's not abuse. That's just demanding something or asking something, and you just have to kind of figure out. So there is a difference. I'm not kidding if I tell you that there is a huge struggle in identifying what abuse is. Many poor brothers have been put under the car for reasons they could have worked on.
Mm-hmm.
They were just not understanding how to function. And alhamdulillah, I have seen where through coaching, when I got to work with the couples, alhamdulillah, they're thriving now. But unfortunately, some cases require you to get out of a situation, at least for the time being, till the person recognizes and works on the shortcoming that are pretty much killing you. And then again, it's your responsibility to reach out for that help.
No, and thank you for mentioning the part about the brothers as well, because I think, often, and of course, as women, and just we should be supporting our sisters, and, just encouraging them to speak up if it's a situation. But sometimes I think it's just like you were mentioning, just communication. And sometimes it's just, they're not, the brothers are not aware. So, and it's something they could work on. So this is kind of,
Yeah.
kind of taking a change of track. I mean, kind of related again, this is kind of more related to you. What led you to becoming a life coach, and exactly what does your role entail? And I think with the situation we are in now, I would strongly encourage, people to reach out to you. I don't know if you have you can do web conferencing with clients, if that's something you have set up already.
Yes.
Kind of tell us a little bit more about how we can, if people want to reach out to you first, I think what led you to be a life coach, and then how we can reach out to you, and, how, inshallah, the community can benefit from you, and, can kind of,
Okay.
right?
I'll just quickly tell you my story. And, I believe that our entire life is preparing us for who we are meant to be. My story isn't really that different. I have always been the person I am, you see here. I have worked in 7 different industries, and the best I worked was when I was working at a hospital, and this was in Houston. When I was there, I got to see a lot of people who had cancer. I worked with a girl who was 16 and had cancer, and my job then was also to make these people hopeful, right? I saw a lot of families that were outside of those ICU rooms. I saw preemie babies. I got to speak with moms who lost their children and who are praying for their child's survival. And among all of this, there was an experience that literally changed everything inside of me. Now, before I go in that story, I'll tell you that personally, I'm a very spiritual person, which means everything that I do, everything I have learned, I connect back with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many times when I do things, and I'm looking for signs actively, this is what I preach, is exactly what I practice. I would not share anything different with you. This is what has led me here. And that story was the very first time I actually saw life leaving a body. That hospital had a program called No One Dies Alone. This person was hit in a car accident, and he, after all of doctors' tries, was about to leave the world. I was not prepared for this program. I was actually kind of put on the spot. It's a Methodist hospital. So when I was in his room and my manager was there, she had told me that she wants me to experience this. And they had a priest come in and he was explaining things on the other side. And all I could do was just look at this person, his body covered with wires. And I'm seeing his heart pounding, his stomach is open, it was internally bleeding. I cannot imagine the image. I cannot explain the image. And I cannot explain to you what I was looking at. I'm hearing the priest, I'm hearing the manager, and all I was expecting to faint or something like that, but I could not take my eyes off of him. And as time was going, his heart kept pumping, pumping, pumping. And as I'm watching this body, as I'm watching this person, and all of the Islamic signs that we have, what happens to the body, how the ruh, our soul is taken out of the body, was what I was witnessing. It felt like I was thinking, oh my goodness, the angel of death is present in this room. And I was shivering at that time. And slowly I see the heart jumps. The body is jumping off the bed. And slowly it takes a huge jump and falls back on the bed. This person was gone. The sad part was that this person had no kinship. There was no one who could be identified as his brother, sister, mother. He was dying alone. I couldn't tell what I was witnessing at that time. I mean, I couldn't comprehend. It was so much. I walked out with the priest, the chaplain, and my manager, and they got other people come in to clean and pack the body. My manager at that time asked me, what have you learned? And I said two things. Number one, I felt like my heart grew a little. And number two, that no one should die alone. After that point, I changed as a person. I was more humble. I did not care so much about materialistic surroundings of mine, but I was very grateful for everything that was present in my life. That's when my perspective shifted, because I literally saw a life leaving a body. I was shivering, thinking there is angel of death present in this room with me. And that's when I had a change of heart completely, that I wanted to serve the same humanity Allah is serving, regardless of race, regardless of faith, regardless of where they are or how they are, if they love him or not, how they are, if they are a sinner or not. He is giving everyone food. He is making life easy and giving everyone hope, regardless of anything. If he is not discriminating, neither will I, and I will serve the humanity he has made and created. And after that, I was just actively serving in the ways I could and trying to find a purpose for myself. And I constantly prayed till I went for Hajj. And Alhamdulillah, there I met a psychologist who actually asked me, have you ever considered being a life coach? Because she saw how I was with the brothers and sisters who were present at over there. And I was like, no, I have not. But that question evoked something in me. That question poked me. That question made me think and comprehend. Is this my purpose? Because right now I'm in front of Kaaba. I am praying for a purpose, and here she is suggesting such. And here I am doing my duty. And that's where I am here, trying to serve the humanity he has so created. And of course, I don't want anyone to die alone. So building that relationship, making sure that you are connected with your children, your spouses, your parents, is my main goal, because
Wow.
they are responsible for you after your death. What happens to you after your death is your deeds that will carry you on. Your sadqa jariyah, your children that decide where you end up in heaven. But what happens to your body after? That responsibility that you were given is in their hand. So make sure all of them are present. So that's where my journey started. That's how I'm here. And that's my story.
Mashallah, that's very like like you were saying, you kind of just me imagining that, it's just amazing. So, I'm sorry, I want to expand more. We're short
Of
on
course.
but if so, and if we want to reach, if someone wants to reach out to you, make you an appointment, do they just go to your website? What's the process?
So my website would be the easiest one, nidajaved.com. There, under services, you will have all kind of options. You can have a 20-minute discovery call with me if you want to connect. You don't have to pay anything. There is no fee for that. If you just want to talk, want to get something off your chest, no pressure. Just sign up for that and we will connect. Otherwise, my email, nida@nidajaved.com, and my phone number, 469 6090870. You can text me. Calls, of course, get overwhelming. So text me, and whenever I'm available, I will answer. I'm getting a lot of messages during these times, right? But I don't hesitate to answer. There is no obligation. My job, honestly, the way I see it, is to make someone else's life easier. Of course, the investment you put in your life is the result you will get. But of course, my website is there, email is there, phone number is there, and Facebook obviously is always there, Instagram. So there are a lot of ways you can connect with me. Anyone who can benefit from me is welcome to connect.
Jazakallah khairan. May Allah bless you and reward you for all the amazing work you do, and give you success in all your endeavors, and give you good in this,
Ameen, sumami.
protect your whole family. I think we are over time today, so if there's anything else you'd like to add, but if not, this is very beneficial for me personally, and I know some of the sisters have been texting me, that's been really, just really uplifting, and just for all of us. So jazakallah khair, seriously, may Allah reward you. If there's anything else you'd like to add, and if not, I'll go ahead and.
Just one thing, quickly. If Allah has helped a cloud identify when it needs to give rain, that is beneficial to help grow the plants and everything that we consume, and then identify when it needs to form a storm, then Allah has also given you the capabilities to identify when you are in adversity that is about to calm your life down. And when there is a storm, even if it takes something away from you, is to benefit you, because not everything is meant to be present in our lives. Keep your eyes and mind open to all that Allah is bringing, because nothing is happening without His will, and a lot is happening because of your choices to make the wise ones. Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.